There have been calls for a greater accountability of civil society organisations due to their rapid growth in terms of size, visibility and political influence, coupled with a series of high-profile scandals. One of the ways to deal with accountability is self-regulation, voluntary norms defined by CSOs for CSOs at sectoral level to regulate their behaviour. Over the past decades, there has been a proliferation of self-regulatory instruments worldwide. The importance of self-regulation emerges from numerous factors, the most important being its purpose of institutionalising best accountability practices, rendering them more systematic among CSOs. Despite the increasing popularity, self-regulation has been criticised because systematic monitoring and sanctioning dysfunctions. The spectre of non-compliance casts doubt not only on self-regulation as a means of accountability, but it also increases scepticism of self-regulation's effectiveness and on the genuine goals it can serve. So far, researchers have dealt with many aspects of self-regulation's effectiveness, but there is still a question that remains largely unanswered. Is self-regulation effective in achieving its own objectives or expected outcomes? Additionally, there is scant empirical evidence regarding the reasons of non-compliance. So why do CSOs fail to comply with self-regulatory norms? To answer these questions, this research has looked into the practices of Italian CSOs. Italy has been chosen as a case study for 3 reasons. First, the Mafia Capitale has undermined the credibility of CSOs, revealing a network of corrupted relationships between CSOs, politicians and criminal gangs operating in Rome. Secondly, the Italian government has recently reformed the third sector through the Third Sector Reform 2017, addressing issues of transparency and accountability of CSOs. Thirdly, a new wave of self-regulatory initiatives is currently emerging to restore public trust in the third sector. This research has looked at La Carta dei Valori, developed by a network of CSOs called Forum Terzo Settore Lazio in July 2015. The CDV is a checklist of indicators with a focus on digital transparency, requiring CSOs to disclose a series of information on their web pages. The CDV was adopted to increase public trust in CSOs and to prevent the threat of strict government regulation. The test of effectiveness of the CDV was performed by employing a blueprint designed by the One Word Trust London. A wide range of empirical data was gathered to conduct this test of effectiveness, including interviews with practitioners, qualitative surveys, statistical data released by think tanks, together with an assessment of CSOs' websites and a legal analysis of third sector reform. While measuring whether the CDV has succeeded in increasing public trust, it was noted that public trust is influenced by many factors which are independent from the development of self-regulatory instruments. The CDV was effective in protecting the sector's autonomy against hypothetical legislative interferences. The third sector reform accommodates the ideas of self-regulation as a means of supervision or accountability, emphasising the role that networks can play in that respect. Even if quantitative findings indicate a medium compliance rate, qualitative findings suggest that there can be many reasons behind non-compliance, which sometimes do not depend entirely on CSO's commitment to comply with voluntary standards. In this context, a distinction between objective and subjective non-compliance should be drawn.